It's all right. I'll just like take the recording and post it to YouTube later. Anyway, because I'm not going to restart now because you guys are here. So, all right, I'm going to explain this fast kind. First of all, Mr. Russell says, what is the name of your mic again? This microphone is a King B, and the company is called Neat Audio. Basically, these guys are the guys that actually invented the Blue way back when the Yeti first came out, before Logitech and about 3 other companies bought the Blue Yeti and turned the Blue Yeti into a humongous piece of crap. Back in the day, it was a really good microphone, and then it became a humongous piece of crap. And then so basically it's the same guys. Well, this YouTube one says it's working, so this YouTube one says it's not. And so now that we know that YouTube is working, and my boy Chuck is here to prove it, aloha Chuck, let's get started. We're going to start from scratch, people. We're going to start from absolute scratch because a lot of people have been asking me about Ecamm and what I'm doing. So I've been watching a lot of people, like whenever everyone watches the either question and answer with the Wonder Kids. I won't say Wonder Twins because that's Glenn and Ken. But when Stephanie and Katie do their show, everyone loves their overlays. Everyone loves their screen split. When Loria guys do their show, or she does an Ecamm show, everyone loves what they're doing. Everyone loves their screen split. And so the question kept coming up, like, how do you set up your feed? How do you do these overlays? And a lot of people are out there, trying to help. Sorry, Troy, there was no earlier live show. I tried to start it, and then I realized because I nuke and paved my machine and it was absolutely empty, I didn't have the ability to show you guys how to work the screen. So now it's working. So first thing I'm gonna do is turn on live demo mode. Okay. Alrighty, so what you're seeing here in live demo mode is exactly Ecamm. This is what I see when I'm doing stuff talking to you folks. It would be beneficial, Mr. Rock, if you could actually see what you were doing. Okay, cool. All right, cool. First of all, I'm going to stop getting sidetracked, but I got to say hi to Brett, because Brett be harassing me, trying to make me buy a Blackmagic 6K camera, and he's wearing on me. I might have to do that. So I hit up my boy Tony, who owns the camera store up here, Pro Camera Hawaii. Hey, Tony. And I told Tony to get a Blackmagic dealership so I could buy it from him. Yes. And so, Joe, one more time, Joe, this is a Neat King B. It was originally created by the guys that created Blue. This was like a $499 mic. And now that they got their research and development costs and everything down, it's like you can get it for $129. It's absolutely incredible. It's a great sounding mic for what it is. I do have, 1 second, gang, don't go away. I do have in this box another microphone, and I'm going to do this as a later date. This one is going to be about the cheapest mic you can get that's dope. It costs $60, and I'm going to show that later. But anyway, focus, people. You guys know I have ADD, HD, and 4K, so stop sidetracking me and pay attention. I'll be the worst first grade teacher ever. As you can see, I have nothing in this Ecamm. This joint is bone dry. I don't even have a lower third. Okay, so quick run around the interface. Normally, when you first install it, your stuff might not look like this. I rearranged my windows to have a giant comments windows because number one, I'm blind, and number two, I don't know, I just like it. I kind of learned that from, I think either Stephanie or Laura from Livestream Pro. They told me to do theirs like that because we saw their behind the scenes. I like that. This is your scenes. So what scenes basically say is right now the current scene I have has 0. It's absolutely nothing. It's just me and my big, large cranium. So let's say I'm going to add a new scene. I'm going to click this. As you can see there's no camera, right? And then all I have to do is pick which camera I want, and then now the camera's on there. So I'm going to name this scene, let's see, lower third. Okay, so boom. And I type bad, so if I misspell anything, shut up. I'll fix it later. So right now, this one doesn't currently have a lower third, and I do have a lower third kind of previously made from before I blew up my machine. So I'm gonna just grab that versus go and create a brand new one. But if you guys want, I can teach you how to create those too. And he said he was gonna grab that, but I might not even be able to do that because there's a huge possibility that I didn't even save those. That would be funny, because then that means I have to go to Final Cut and re-render everything. Hold on. I don't trust me. Here we go. Ecamm lower third. So I'm going to just drop this one on there. And it says, oh, cannot locate the file. Ah, I know why. You must wait because of the way that iCloud works. It has sent it up to the cloud because I hadn't used it for a couple of days. So I just got to re-download it real quick. So while that's happening, I will go ahead and click this one to download. Download. And I'll click this one to download and this one to download. Go, go, go. iCloud. Work fast. Yeah. Eddie, my homie. Okay. Listen, Yankees fan. Don't sweat my Red Sox. Okay? Just zip it. All right, cool. So let me move this out of the way. And I got my lower third working. So where'd it go? Come on. Keep downloading. Quicker than that. Here we go. So I'm going to just drag this lower third. And Ecamm is cool because it's drag and drop. Boom. There's me. There's my name. So my first scene is here, right? And my second scene is bam. Whenever I click this button, it goes. And you can see in this little guy, I can do Command 1 for the plain one, Command 2 for the second one. When we do the whole setup of stream deck, which is one of these guys, where you just press a bunch of buttons and it all happens for you, then we'll cover that. Okay, but for the meantime, we're going to stick to like people that just getting started and they have nothing. Okay. All right. So I like the way that scene works. I'm going to just go ahead and make one more new scene. When you create the new scene, it comes up with nothing. So that's why it keeps going black. But then I'm going to add this one, and this one's going to be my subscribe. Okay. So I have a little subscribe thing going right here. Yeah. 1 second, Lyle. Let me answer that real quick. Let me drag over this movie, pop it in place, and bam, there's my little Doc Rock subscribe to my channel feed, right? So whenever I go ahead and press that guy, you move out of the way. All right. So whenever I go ahead and press, let's see, Command 2, we get that lower third. Command 3, we get the subscribe lower third. Okay. You guys are being meta, so you're getting to see things happen. Lyle says, have you updated Ecamm Live? The new profile pictures go with Restream. I did not. I'm not streaming with the beta. I'm streaming with the regular. If I was streaming with the beta, I believe it would work. I didn't try it, but tomorrow morning when I do the DJ's live streaming tomorrow morning when I do the DJ's live streaming stream with my buddy Scott, I'll try the beta, see if that works. Because yes, having the icons to see, or the icons, having the avatars to see who you are like talking to is a lot better than seeing a YouTube icon that basically says Lyle Springer, no relation to Jerry. I hope. Anyway, you guys are lucky I'm doing coffee right now. If I was doing whiskey, this would be even more funny. Okay. Troy asks, what format are the animations? They're movie files. I create them in either Keynote or Final Cut and save them in a Alpha ProRes 4444, that last 4 being Alpha channel, so then the background's transparent and then they can work. Okay. So those are just a couple basic scenes. Okay. Now, before I jump into Keynote to show you how to do the overlays, let me see what Eddie freaking Mata is asking me. Is there? Let's see what Eddie says. Stay there, Eddie. click. Is there any way when you interview somebody, they can click on the link if you had a subscribe link? We don't understand what the heck that means. You're speaking like a Yankees fan. What are you trying to say? You want the viewers to be able to subscribe to your channel by clicking the actual video? At this point, that technology doesn't exist. I wish it did. So you got to depend on people to be able to type. Luckily, my channel name is short. It's just Doc Rock. Super simple, DOCROCK. So they can just type it real quick. There's no way to have an interactive link on the screen yet. When that part of television comes, all bets are off. So what you can do, and this conversation came up in the Ecamm group today about throwing up a QR code or something of that nature where someone can grab it that way. That's probably the best option right now, is allow them to have a QR code. However, if you are over here and you press this little eyeball, it should open up all of your streams as they're going. So like if I look over into the YouTube side, and like I wanted to see like what you folks were saying in YouTube, I could put the link in YouTube and then they could click it from there. Okay, as a matter of fact, oddly enough, I can't see what you guys are doing in YouTube, even though I know there's 6 of y'all up in here. Let me click over. And don't forget, Super Chats work, by the way, so you're more than welcome to press something in Super Chat. So, Eddie, basically, yeah, what you could do is in your YouTube chat, you could paste the link there. So what I would do in your case, Eddie, because you are busy, you're interacting normally with a pretty high profile person, just have it in your copy and paste buffer. And then so when or have a notes window open next to the side and have a bunch of links that you want to have run, have them in like a hotkey or something. And then every couple of times throughout the show, just paste in that link. You know what I'm saying? So like, for instance, I'll paste in YouTube real quick. I have a link like that because I want people to buy Ecamm. So by just hitting that little keystroke, this pops right up. I'll put it on screen for those who are not watching on YouTube. See, I use a program called Text Expander. There's a bunch out there, but you can basically build your links and you save them as hotkeys. And then so whenever I want to throw one out real quick, I just bam, and it's there. I don't have to like try to type out a law link. And for the cats over here on Facebook, what I forgot to do, because again, I'm starting with my whole machine rebuilt, I forgot to pull up the Restream chat. It's a special program that if you download and you run the Restream chat, you can chat directly in there. But I believe I can comment from here. And send a shout out to my little sister Danny, who's just watching because she's bored in the house, bored and pregnant. Okay, so anyway, back to the showgram. So basically, this first set of boxes here is where you're going to set up your scenes, right? Scenes are kind of sort of easy. You just create as you need. One of the things that comes up is when you want to bring on a Skype guest. Okay, so I'm going to launch Skype real quick and hope this doesn't break anything. And as soon as I launch Skype, you see I can add a person and that's going to be my Skype guest. I'm not going to actually call myself because, well, I don't want to talk to me. That guy's a jerk. Just go like that. And then here you go. Danny, Brett says that my little sister is nicer than his because at least you come and support, even though you have no clue what I'm talking about. So this is how Ecamm looks whenever you're running a Skype guest. You got you with your big nugget, and then the Skype person normally is another person. Check out my boy Eddie Mata show. He always got good guests. He got like Daryl Strawberry, Dwight Gooden, like he be bringing in the heat. Robert Davi, like from Goonies, Goonies 2, like, so he does these interview shows and his joint looks sort of like that. The other option, if you come down here on this little cog wheel, you can say run the crop split. Need another sip of coffee, sorry. With the crop split, it looks like this. Now, for everyday, practical purposes, that's fine. But what if you want your thing to look a little bit more swaggy? This is where this comes in. on some of the other shows, when you watch people do it, they have a nice little box around this area and a box around this area. And you figure with the way this is set up, with all of this real estate here, why would you let it just go naked and not use that real estate to either A, promote your brand, slap up your logo? So like, I'll show you for instance. I'm gonna drag on real quick this DJ's live streaming logo. And you see, I got that there. And it's like, why not use that to like, hey, stay right there. Why not use that to kind of like size up? And of course, let me lock everything else because it's getting in my way. Delete and delete. And I can't grab the corner. Why? Fingers, why? Grab the corner. It won't let me size it. I'm going to delete it and fix it myself. Okay, I can do this easier because this is going to drive me nuts. Double click that. Oh, one thing that's really cool about when you have Apple is you have Keynote, and Keynote is real quick to go in and size something. And all you got to do is do that. And then I'm going to save a copy. Bam, bam. And then save that. And it's easy. Jam. Now I got a smaller one. This is something that Ecamm hopefully will get, figured out sooner, is like the ability to just like size and place these things a little bit easier. Like trying to grab this little corner while I'm trying to grab everything else and it's moving my screen around is driving me crazy. And it also could be just the way that, because I'm running in demo mode, like it might not be wanting to cooperate. So it does kind of like drive me batty when I'm doing that, how you can't just like, I'm a designer type, so I want to be able to type in a number and say that number is the number that I want this thing to be. That's just how it is. But anyway, we're going to fix this because doing it that way will drive me batty. Okay. So now let me check the size on that. Okay. Okie doke. And throw a little box. Bam, bam, bam. Don't worry, folks. I'm just doing something real quick. I'll be right there. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Okay, cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump out of demo mode real quick, and we're going to go to Keynote. And I'm going to show you what I did. Okay, so live demo mode is off. Actually, wait, I come back. Don't go nowhere. Pay attention. What I'm going to do is go back to live demo mode, because what I wanted to show you how to do is add the Keynote window so that people can see when you're using Keynote. Okay, so I'm going to add one more scene here. It's going to go blank. This one I'm going to set up as a computer window, and I want it to show which application. I click this button and I'm going to say Keynote. Okay, now you're seeing my Keynote window. In my picture-in-picture right now, I don't have a picture-in-picture, right? I'm turning that off. So this is where you would see just the program I want to teach or show or do something like that. But if I want to add a picture-in-picture, then I want to click that and set this camera to be sort of whichever camera that I want the picture-in-picture to be. And in this case, it's Camlink 4K. Okay. Another thing you can see, part of the demo here, on this camera, I can do a 4x3, little square head. I can do, a perfectly square head like the gram. I can do a round head, or I can do a tall head, right? And I kind of like the standard widescreen way just because it's easier, but I can park myself in the corner. You can also make yourself super tiny, and I'll just leave my dome over there. All right, so that's kind of the best place for me. I'm going to get rid of my camera and sound effects for a second, but wait, just because I'm bored. I don't know why I ought to do that. That's just kind of funny. Okay, cool. Scott says crank up the mic a little bit. Okay. I think my voice is just starting to go, which hopefully it will get better by tomorrow. All right. So now this is where Keynote is, and I'm actually showing you Keynote. So I'm going to just pull out of live demo mode and just let you see it straight. And what I normally do if I'm showing an app is I put the name of the app over here, because I can show you Keynote. I also can show you my screen. So let's just go out of live demo mode. Booyaka. That's how you set up how to do something screen. Okay, before we go any further, to also give me a chance to drink some coffee real quick. Troy wants to know, does Ecamm allow you to script time code? Or no, that's too complicated, man. Troy, if you've seen the majority of the people that use this program, that's way too complicated. I would like that, but that's way too complicated. And especially when you got people like Eddie Mata using this, oh, you would catch his brain on fire. Brett, yes, the Evo does have auto gain. I don't use that. I used it at first. I liked it. It was kind of cool. That's not me. I turned it off. So I'll just control it myself. I'm a little bit too I don't know what the word is. I like to touch everything. I like to touch knobs. There we go. All right, here we go. So now we are in Keynote. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to design this, and we're going to design this off of a split screen type, setup. Okay. So in Keynote, what I did, the first thing, thank you, Brett. Brett said control freak. That's what I was looking for. Why my brain didn't want to do that, I don't know. In Keynote, what I wanted to do is show you guys some grids, okay? Because most people just go in and start from scratch. Normally in Keynote, you don't see these grids, right? If you're in here under view and you turn the guides off, most people just see a plain blank screen, okay? Why did that not work? I said guides, hide, master, guides. Okay, bam. This is what you see. And this works, right? So if I were to come in and grab this image, which I just kind of screenshot real quick while we were over there, and then I wanted to pop this in the middle, as you can see now, look, I'm chasing it all over the place, trying to find the right center, and there's the center. And then I'm going to go ahead and zoom this up, and we know that a screen is 1920 by 1080. If you see in the bottom corner, right above my head on the icon, it says 1920 1080. I know I have a perfect crop. But when I start designing for this, you're guessing. I don't like guessing. I'm an actual designer. I design by grids. So what I did was on the master slide, I created a set of guidelines that will help you see where everything is. So when you set your stuff up, Eddie Mata, you can put it exactly where it should be mathematically according to the grid. So everything comes out perfect rather than guessing. And I see everybody moving their stuff around, and I just thought I'm going to teach folks how to fix that. Okay. So, but these guide boxes will allow me to do is set it up perfectly instead of just taking a sophisticated wild ass guess, aka a swag. Okay. So one of the first things you might want to do is just generate like a little divider. Okay. So again, I could put this here. I could drag this down. I'm gonna pick obnoxious colors to make it easier for folks to see. And then I'm gonna go in here into the arrange, and I'm gonna say that width of 100 pixels is a little bit out of control. Working with 1920 by 1080, just keep things in like random 20-ish numbers and you'll be a little bit better. So I'm gonna make this a 40. All right, that's gonna be my split. Now I'm gonna use that to sort of delineate the difference between person 1 and person 2. Okay. Another thing that I can do is I might want to like not just show the full box, right? You want to kind of crop the box a little bit. So what I would do then is grab another box and just throw it up on top. I'm going to set the width at 1920 because we know exactly what it is, right? And I'm going to set the height at 1080 because we know that's what it is. Most of you guys by now have watched enough TV to know what 1920 by 1080 is. So you drop this in here. Now you say, hey, my first line disappeared. Just push backwards. It's not that hard. Great. Okay. Now, what I want to do is make space for the cutout. Okay. I'm going to take the slightly rounded icon. And again, just to make this easier for y'all to see, I'm going to grab that. And I'm going to be able to pull this out. And because I have these lines, I can kind of see what's what, right? And what I came out with by just grabbing it was it's at, 999 point. We want that to be 1,000, and we want this to be at 100. So that way you're getting in the right spot, okay? And then I'm going to take this 881, and I'm going to move it up to, actually, let's go to 880. Okay, then move that one to 880. Now, I'm going to duplicate this to the opposite side, and it should kind of sort of line up exactly how you want it. If you want to double check your alignment, you collect both boxes, you go up to range, and you say distribute or align, you know what I mean? So we can align by the middle, and then they're all good. Now, here comes the cool part. I'm going to take this white one in the background and take this first yellow box, and I'm going to use this subtract. And bam, there's a hole. I'm going to take this yellow box and this white box and subtract. There's the other hole. And so real quickly, I'm able to make it look a little bit cooler than the standard just sort of Ecamm, two-way split. Now, I could take that white box and you can make it any color you want that matches the theme of your show. You know what I'm saying? You can come over here in this fill box. You can go dark green. You can go like lavender. You can hit blue, sort of whatever you want. Yeah, you could do a gradient if you wanted to. Something that clashes with the Skype one, but normally there's another head over there. So I could do a cool gradient like that. Give me a second to swig this coffee. Corey. How's it going, Corey? This is my buddy Corey right here. He's a Keynote phenom. But we're doing something different today, Corey, so pay attention. Yes, lavender. Lavender is a color. All right, so now that I have this, I might want to go ahead and add a little logo, because what's going to happen is my head is going to be there, and my buddy Sky head is going to be over here. So I want to add a little logo, so I can just drop a logo on there, and Keynote is doing its thing. So I'm going to take that and shrink it up a little piece, and I'm going to put it here. And so I might decide that, well, in this particular position, I need more space for my boxes. Okay, so all I would do is recreate the process. I'm not going to recreate it for the stream, but normally I would go back, recreate what I did, and just make my boxes a little bit smaller. Okay. Yes, Eddie, this is Keynote. Keynote is free with every Apple device. You can just go to the App Store and download it. It works on iPad. It works on phones. It works on computers. It's free 95, and it's a good way to do this. So I'm going to leave that right there. Now, in this particular shot, which is the way Ecamm normally sees this, let me go back to this. And this particular shot, Ecamm, you don't, let's see. In this particular shot, maybe I wouldn't put the lower thirds. Maybe I would just leave it like that. In the crop shot, which I'm going to do real quick right after this, I'm going to do it with the crop shot and put the lower thirds in and show you how it's done. Now, these lower thirds can be animated, okay? For today's purposes, just as showing you how to set these scenes up, I'm not going to do the animations, but the animations in Keynote are pretty rad. I do have a YouTube video that explains how to do animated. Wait, I think I did. Yeah, I did explain how to do animated overlays in Keynote on YouTube, and I could post that link in here somewhere where you can grab it. Okay. So in the meantime, and in between time, let's jump back over to Keynote. All right, so what I'm going to do is create a brand new slide, and I want to create this blank copy. That's this right here. So this particular time, what we're trying to do is come with the two head shot, better known as the crop, right? This is the two-way crop. And so if I take this one and swing it out to 1920 by 1080, all right, and then plop it in the middle. So easy way to get to the middle is just put X at 0 and Y at 0. So this is what Ecamm shows you when you do a two-headed switch, right? So for instance, if I come over here and put on my camera and the Skype thingy, hey, what'd you do that for? All right, and do the crop split, that's sort of what it normally looks like. Okay, so what I'm doing here is basically creating that for Keynote. How I got that image was I just screenshot this window in Ecamm, because I know that mathematically it's always going to be 1920 by 1080 or some 16 by 9 calculation. I just use that as my Keynote. Keynote creates slides in 1920 by 1080 or 16 by 9, and so from there your math just works. When I did my grid, I basically took 1920 divided by 12. 12-column grid is very common for websites, magazines, all the above. People's brains just work with that math. It's way complicated. I won't get into the 12-column grid, but if you want to ask me, I'll explain it one day. So basically, I just divided what you see in Keynote up into a 12-column grid. So that's why there's that. I just didn't put gaps. Okay? Keynote. All right. So what we're going to do here is, in this particular situation, the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and grab the box that I'm going to use to cover my presenters, and I'm going to place it in right about here. Again, I like to keep my numbers on the round, just because it's easy. So I'm going to do 540 by 820. Okay. And I'm going to start at 60 where I want it, because then I know it's good. So that way, when I come over here and duplicate it, now when I'm duplicating, I'm holding the Option key and dragging. You could just duplicate it. But by using even numbers, I know that if I go to 10, 20 points, it's perfectly even. So that's where my guest face will appear, in those two white boxes. Okay? So now I'm going to create the background box that just covers everything. So I'm gonna just plop this square on, and again hit 9, start by 0 0, make this job easier, 0 0, and then 1920 1080. Okay, that covers the whole space. Just so that we can see what we're doing, I'm gonna pick a color and then go to arrange, slide it back twice. So now that's where my two boxes are, and that's where this, the two cutouts are going to be. And right now everything looks kind of sort of legit. All right. It could just be my eye, but I swear this one is closer than it is. So let me try and move this over to 1040, because in my brain is off by 20 pixels. Yeah, that looks a little bit more even, I think. Actually, so now what I want to do is I'm going to cheat. And this is just me tweaking out, people. Please don't be like me. I'm going to make this 860, I think. And make this one 862. Just because I'm weird. And then now snap it. And it's cool. Keynote kind of snaps into position. All right, cool. So I'm going to take those two. And again, you got to do them one at a time. And this is where people get messed up. So I cut the first one, grab it, send it backwards. Cut the second one. Boom. Perfect. Now, that blue is clashing with what we're trying to see. Again, this could be any color you want, but I'm going to just do that. Actually, I'm going to go for a gradient fill or something, just to give it a little bit more, I don't know, look. And now, it's important that our background color is nothing, right? So now that I have this, what I can do is temporarily move this down, grab this image that's in the back and delete it because we don't need it anymore. It's very important that you delete it because if you don't, you won't have a hole when you get back over to your other side. Okay, just to check my placements, it's at 0, 0. Everything is where it is. So now I can grab my DJ's live streaming button. Well, that didn't work. Hey, undo, done, go back. Why did you come in so large? Who told you to do that? Huh? That's funny. Now it's being a punk. That's weird. I'm gonna delete that. Go back to that. I'll put that on later, or I'll put it in the Ecamm. I don't know why my PNG is being a weirdo today. Normally it doesn't do that. Oh, one thing you can do that should solve this problem is I can lock this background. Let's see if that works. Sometimes locking the background will sort of help you. There you go. That fixed it. All right. So now I can shrink this up. And in this case, I'm going to put it on the top again because I want to be able to put our lower thirds in. All right. So at this point, for those of you just joining, what we're doing is a couple days ago, I erased my iMac to bone, right? Just scratch. And I have to reinstall everything, start from scratch. So I'm showing you how to build Keynote slides and overlays from Jump Street, like from plain Jane. If you're just getting started, you just download Ecamm and you want to install. So what we did so far, in case you just showed up, and y'all late for class with no excuse, we showed up how to set up your default scenes like this, or your lower thirds, so you can have your name pop up. We showed you how to remind people to, subscribe to your channel and whatnot. We did that there. We showed how to set a sharing screen so that people can see software that you're teaching. And that's basically it. Now what we're doing is we're building overlays so that if you're doing a 2-person interview on the screen like such, you will have a nicer look. So what we're doing is creating that overlay. We're showing people how to do this from scratch. Now, folks that's still hanging out there, if you have any questions, drop them in, okay? So you can see. And that's it. All right, cool. My comment thing is being blown up by my friends saying dumb stuff while I'm trying to teach the rest of the planet how to use software. My friends are saying funny stuff to me. That's the only part about live streaming when you have goofy friends, Chris. Anyway, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and grab some text. Now, I'm going to grab a blank slide and I'm going to write on the blank slide just because it's easier for people to see. I'm going to move these guides out of the way. I'm going to pop some text on. When you're creating lower thirds, okay? Hold on. Let me say hi to Mark real quick. Sorry. I really got to stop my stream ADD where I got to say hi to everybody that says something, but he has a good point. Mark Pereira says, awesome, Doc Rocky. You've been trying to set this up so the timing is spot on. Good. I've been watching a lot of people in the feed talking about it. And, there's a lot of people thinks it's really hard. It's not that hard. It's actually simple. But it's weird because you wouldn't think of Keynote as an application that you would use to create video-oriented stuff. But before I could afford Final Cut, Keynote was the best way to cheat and do really cool video stuff. So, yeah. And Rodrigo brings up a good point. Rodrigo said he set this up basically in Photoshop or set up like Photoshop basically. And normally, yes, as I was just saying, in the earlier message to Mark, before I could afford Photoshop, like when Keynote first came out back in the day, I did tons of video overlays in Keynote just because it was easy, and when Apple decided to, at first it was iWork, right? You had to pay for it. When Apple decided to make it a thing where it was free for everybody. I'm like, in your Mac right now, Keynote and Premiere not Premiere, sorry. Keynote and Preview are probably two of the most powerful apps in the world. They come free with your computer, and most people don't even know how to use them, and most people don't even know how dope and how powerful they really are. Preview is an amazing app. Most people only know it for opening up a JPEG or a PDF. It's way more sick than that, and we might have to cover that one day because Preview can do some beep. Okay, so what I want to explain in here, here's what I see people do. They go lower third, and normally it's just like people like to come over and pick these weird fonts. I see all kind of crazy stuff like this. This is a horrible lower third. I'm gonna use big letters just to help people see what's going on, but we will adjust it. This kind of stuff in video, not a good look. Why? It might look good on your screen, but in video it's going to get crushed. Right now it's clear on a 5K iMac, but for the folks watching on YouTube, and the COVID is switching up the program, so YouTube is streaming stuff at 720, or the folks watching on Facebook for sure, they're at 720 right now. You can't see those gorgeous little ligatures that are built into this letter, so don't use stuff like that. Okay. The other thing, this is just design stuff. This is a little bit more than just how to do it. I'm a designer. I'm explaining you some design stuff because I watch these mistakes all the time. Do not use, serif letters with little things on them like American typewriter. Cool font, but in reading stuff, not really. Like, especially not for a lower third, right? Because again, depending on the person's monitor, depending on what they're watching, right? If they're watching this from, if they're watching this from an iPhone or an iPad or something where the text is going to be small, that is going to become super, super hard to read. So when possible, just stick to sans serif, okay? Let's go back. Now, the vogue move right now, like what all of the hype beast kids are doing, is real big. Back in the day when we first started, it was all about impact. Impact is whack, so that's out. What everybody's doing nowadays is all capitals for the name part, right? And then let's just suppose all capitals isn't your swag because you doesn't want to seem like you're yelling. I'm gonna do this in a second. Let me switch to B-Boss because that's even more hype beast move right now. I know you're in here. Oh, you know what? Maybe when I reinstalled everything, I didn't even install that yet. Okay, cool. I haven't put my hype beast font in yet, but this one is close enough. It'll kind of cover the conversation. So, let's say you don't want to absolutely yell. What you do is just take the lower and drop it a couple of points, like say drop it to like 160, and that will give you the same concept as upper lower without being upper lower. Okay, so that's the way you can cheat, but just trust me, it looks a little bit better, than using, I don't know, just some weird typing. So just stick to that, okay? Stick to a good, easy to read sans serif. One of to me, the best are like B-Boss New, very popular with this type of stuff. Futura is always on point. We can have a whole show on like typography and picking good type, but you just kind of want to stay away from the generic stuff like Arial's. Impact out of the question. Please don't use comics. If you use Comic Sans, I will come and pull your computer power right out. That is just whack. No papyrus, no weird stuff like that. Okay? So, that's just a little talk on lower thirds. Now, here's how people swank this up. You want to grab yourself a box, okay? And you want to grow this box about the size of your lower third, okay? And for the sake of argument, see here, we're going to have to give that a color, hit the arrange, slip it backwards a little bit. Now you're going to select the text, you're going to select the thing, and you're going to align them joints together. Okay, so come over here, align objects to the center, and align objects to the middle. All right. Now, the next maneuver in swanky lower thirds is go and give a little line around the outside, like Buffalo Girls. They go around the outside. Pick a thin line. Pick a color that's not what we just did. Get this little crayon box. So I'm going to pick like yellow. And then I'm going to take this color fill here, and might even go ahead and turn it off, right? So you basically have a thin little box like that. Then I'm going to take the master box, pull it down. I'm hold down the option key when you pull it down, and that allows you to get another copy. And then I could take this one and fill it back in. Or maybe you have a two colorway type stuff. So I'm gonna fill it in like that. And then I'm gonna pull this one up, and this might be where you put the person's title. So this is a real simple design, lower third. You don't have to get crazy with it, but things like this, where you have a geometric shape and an outline and then a solid one, maybe on the bottom solid one, I don't want any border, so I'm gonna go ahead and take that back off. So it looks sort of like that, in which case I gotta boom this up just a smidgen because it's off by one. I want that to be 1240 and 130. So I'm gonna make sure this, again, the reason why I like to do it this way is so that you can use even numbers. It makes life a little simpler. Okay, so again, stick to sans serif fonts, stick to things that are really easy to read, no tails, no weird ligatures, nothing like that, and keep it simple. Don't get nuts, okay? So now what we're gonna do is go ahead and add like a social link. So I'm gonna hit an @ mark, and we're gonna call that, and we're gonna use something. Normally what you want to do is come in like on a cool font like Avenor, which we had earlier. The Avenor Next is they will have the light, thin, ultralights and stuff like that. Use something like that, but don't go super ultralight to where someone won't be able to read it. Okay, so we're gonna gotta bring that to the front, and we want to shrink that down, of course. So I'm going to take this text. If that was 200 on the first one, I'm going to bring this down to like 100. And we'll go like that. All right. So this is where you're going to have the person's name and then their social link. Okay. So what I'm going to do is grab these parts, copy them, come over to my double slide, and then go ahead and paste it in. Now, of course, it's massive. And I want to group that real quick. Shrink it up. Of course, my lower third letter is going crazy from just because of the size. Unfortunately, Keynote has to have an easier way to do. This is why I do this in like Illustrator and stuff instead of Keynote, because it's much easier to go in and change all these texts, to get the right sizes and stuff, where it's much not as easy in something like Keynote, but it does work. And the whole point was to show you guys, one, how to do it, but two, how to get like a little bit neater design so your stuff just doesn't look crowded and messy, which I see is very easy to do. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put that over here. And Mark, I saw you had a question real quick. Let me go back to my face because it's easier to see. Mark says, click. Great tip. I presume static lower takes up less processing power when you live stream versus animated. Yeah, it probably does. Glenn and Laurier from Live Streaming Pro had a real good conversation last Friday about what parts of Ecamm use what resources and things like this. Today I was just doing static because the static, I personally would animate them. One thing that's really cool is Keynote does animate them pretty easy. And I have a video on YouTube already that shows you how to do that. I can grab you a link and post it in here. Or when this live is over and the real replay goes up, I'll remember. I hope, Mark, if I forget, jump in the comments and tell me. I'll remember to link to the video where I showed how to do them animated Keynote, because Keynote can do some pretty incredible animations. But for this particular example, I was just trying to KISS, keep it simple and stupid. Okay? And gotta send a shout out to Pastor Johnson. Pastor Johnson, how you doing? All right, cool. So back to the showgram here. So now that I'm here in Keynote, again, all I gotta do is duplicate this lower third, drag it to the other side, and you notice how it just lines right up. Now, as I look at this particular font is a little bit obnoxious, but we'll just leave it. We'll see how it looks after I fill it in. Okay, that's me. I'm gonna put the center. What's funny is when you create this, just precaution, create it with your name and the guest on both sides. Because what happens, sometimes Ecamm will switch and you got to go through this thing to move your cameras around. So I just create both. And if it's easier, I just switch the overlay because it's faster. Okay. So this is going to be Scott. Ooh, capitals. I think I did that right. Shoot me. If I spelled it wrong, Scott, shoot me. Scott will probably kill me if I did it wrong. I'm pretty sure I did it right. I'm going to double check just because I talk to him all the time, but I don't know if I typed it out too many times. He might be sleeping by now because he's in Chicago. But we're doing this live stream tomorrow morning, so I got to get this overlays done. And these are, fast and dirty, maybe even a little bit cheesy, but the goal here was to show you how to do the cutout. S-I-L-Z. Okay, it's correct, I think. What did I type? Yes, I did. All right, cool. So you'll notice that my thing shifted, so I just put it back in the middle. Again, if I didn't want to seem like I was yelling and I'm at 100 right here, I would take this and move it down to 60. That's a little low. Move it up to 80. And then same with the other half. Move it up to 80. And again, you can play with these numbers any way you want. I kind of use sort of formulas. Normally I do things according to what the smallest print size is going to be. But since we're not doing paper, since we're not doing paper, we don't have to worry about that today. So what did I do? Oh, I know what I did. I changed it to 80. Hello, dummy. And like normally what we do, like in say a web browser sort of instance, is we go in divisions of 4 and 8 or 16 because just the way fonts work. Screen and video is a little different. So I'm using 20s because our resolutions are 1920 by 1080. So to me, 20s is a good number for this kind of stuff. Again, you got to play with it. Every font's going to be a little different, but that's how it sort of is in this particular case. And for this, I'm just going to put in my social info. It tends to be basically the same. And Scott is SCOTMIX5. Scott Mix 5. So I don't need this piece over here. I can delete that. But what you could do, like maybe you want to add an advertisement or a reminder to folks that like your show, comes every couple of days or whatever. You can add that in the extra space. Use the dead space for something when you're not using it. Okay. For right now, I'm going to just leave this here just so we can kind of wrap things up. Again, let me go back through a quick recap, like a fast rundown, and then I won't explain as much. I'm going to just show you how quick and dirty you can throw these things together. Oh, yay, Rodrigo, my man. Yes, throw your sponsors up there. Like, if I had some sponsors right now, which is y'all guys, so, super chats and all of that. Yes, you can. Pastor Johnson, yes, we're doing this in Keynote. If you missed the beginning, and then stick around real quick, because I'm going to do this real fast. I'm going to run it down. I was showing how to set up, if I was, taking my standard Skype guest thing like this, or the other option, standard Skype guest thing like such, how to make a cool overlay for it real quick and simple using Keynote. And Pastor Johnson, because you weren't here, what I was explaining to folks is I erased my iMac, so I had nothing set up, so I had to set it all up over again. And so since I was going to do it, I might as well show folks how to do it from zero, because a lot of people just installed Ecamm, they don't know where to start. And all of us, quote unquote pro guys, we were like, oh yeah, just do this, just do that. And I see a lot of what my dad used to call flashing 12s on the VCR. People that, you go to their house and their VCR is always flashing 12. So yeah, we're going to show you how to do that. Okay, so jumping back over to Keynote. What I did initially was, let me delete this real quick. I basically brought in the standard, I made a screenshot of what Ecamm is expecting. So that's why there's my head there with my hat and then the Skype logo, because that's what I just showed you on the other screen. And then so I opened it up in Keynote and I built boxes around it. So this is a little bit better cut out than just having the two heads. You're going to have some head space in there, but it's okay. It kind of works, right? The other thing that I did was I created one for the crop screen, like I just showed you a second ago. And so what we're going to do is we're going to save these as transparent PNGs and bring them in as overlays in the Ecamm. The last thing I need to do before I do this is take these parts here. I'm going to go ahead and group them together. I'm going to move this down and I'm going to delete that. Okay. And then I'm going to take this piece. I'm going to just move it out the center for a second. Put this back in the middle. I could bring this bar to the front. And if I wanted to have it in there, I could do that. I don't really like that bar. I don't need it. It's kind of whack. But just, showing if I wanted to, I could round those corners, bring it down, add some other stripes, rotate the box somewhere. You can put kind of shapes wherever you want. I'm going to leave it like this because I think it looks a little bit cooler. And this particular one, again, because the real estate is small, I'm not going to have lower thirds. I'm going to just leave it. So the other thing that I explained, for those of you who popped it real late, what I initially did was took a document and I divided it up into 160 pixels across. That's just so that you can have a grid. And you don't need to show that, but it's just to help you line things up. So your alignment's a little bit better. You're not just guessing. The other thing I did was I took a blank screen and I set up guides basically to grid it out. So that way, when you set your stuff up, you're not just working in the blind, right? So if I come over and I look at my lower thirds, things are nicely lined up. They're not just like randomly placed on screen. Keynote will kind of do some of that for you, but I created my own guides anyway, just because your design will come out cleaner. If your design is cleaner, it's just one of those things that it's appeasing to people's eyes. They don't know why they like it, but they like it. And yeah, especially if you're trying to teach something that's boring, right? You have to come even more correct on your show. All right, so let's save these images out real quick. I'm going to take this and export it. This is key. Pay attention, folks. You want to go into images. It has to be a JPEG, okay? And I really only need slides 1 and 2, so I'm going to just take slides 1 and 2. And make sure you check this box right here. It says export with transparent backgrounds, okay? I don't have my trackpad connected with this. Oh, I do. I wonder, hey, I didn't know that. In theory, I can zoom in and zoom out with Ecamm, but I don't have it set up. My bad. Anyway, so go ahead and save those. And it's going to ask me where I want it to go. So save that files there. I'm going to pop it on the desktop just to make it quicker. And of course, naturally, it happens fast. So go to my default program here, drop into demo mode real quick. Yes, that's why I love doing live training. This is why live streaming is cool, people. Normally when I do it on YouTube, I just do it and then I got to answer a question a million times because I went too fast. But now somebody like Russell could be like, yo, dummy, slow it down and do it again for the cheap seats. Okay. Yes, Russell, I'll do that part again. I'm gonna go into Keynote. Okay. Let me see. There is a way where I can like zoom my Keynote in. So yeah, I'm gonna just zoom it in real quick. So I went into File and I pressed Export, and I went Export to Images. Okay. Okay, I zoomed it in too far. Back out. Back out, bully. Okay. So hopefully you can see that, Russell. So now what I did is you switch to PNG. Okay. Under PNG, there is a little checkbox right here, this blue area. And that checkbox specifies, there we go, giant arrow. You know what, in OS Catalina, Mac OS, if you jiggle the mouse really fast, it'll swell up. Anyway, so you click this little box right here to make sure that your background is transparent. Okay. And then you export it. Oh, let's do one other thing, because I think this is where people get stuck. So Russell, you might have a point. Hold that second. I'm going to make a new Keynote real fast, because it's guaranteed where people get stuck. I'm going to start with basic black. I'm going to say create. Make sure that this part is on 16 by 9. Create. Okay. So when this is here, normally you have a bunch of stuff in the way. So I just go and delete all of this mess. Okay. And here's where everyone gets hung up. Okay. If I come over here, see this part where it says background? Right now it says color fill. You want to switch that to no fill. Now your screen isn't going to change. Let me zoom this out to 75%. Your screen isn't going to change at all. As a matter of fact, let's just go back to color fill was black. And let's just throw a shape on there or two so you can see. Okay. So right now, the background is color filled, and just for SNGs, that's what your background really looks like. And so I think it confuses people, because if you just had it as black and you don't press this part where it says no fill, it's black to you visually on the screen. But this, in theory, if this were Photoshop or Illustrator, you'd see the checkerboard, the Perina pattern. But Keynote doesn't show it that way. It shows it as black. So I think what's happening when I'm watching, people have errors in the group, what they're doing is they're creating it with black backgrounds and not creating no fill. So a very important step in Keynote is on your initial slide on the format, click format, make sure that the background is selected to no fill, or if you're here with this, sort of color swatch box, come all the way down to the bottom and press no fill. So that way, when you do export your images and you're saving it out as images, when you select PNG, it will create transparent background. So I'm actually glad you asked that question, because then now it makes more sense. And in all of that, I also realized the reason why you guys have a hard time seeing is because I stayed in live demo mode. Always screw that up. So I'm gonna do it from here. Make it simple. One more time. File menu, come down to export images. In this case, I'm only need the first two slides. So I'm exporting 1 and 2. Change JPEG to PNG. Make sure export transparent backgrounds is on. Press next. And it's going to ask me where it wants to go. I'm sending it to the desktop. Press export. And she go. So now, back in the Ecamm. Good question, Russell. I'm going to go into demo mode one more time. And I'm going to take my scene where I have myself in the Skype guest sort of like setup. Okay. And then I'm going to bring in that overlay that we just created seconds ago. So this is the two-headed piece. I should be able to just drag it right here onto the overlay and turn it loose, and boom, you're in there. James, sorry, I'm just yelling at the screen. 1 second. James, you made it. I wish you had came in from the gate because I was mostly doing this so you can see, but don't worry, you can rewind and watch it again after you had your little wine. Anyway, so this is for our show tomorrow. There's my first overlay. I'm going to be here, and my buddy Scott will be there in Chicago, and it'll be a nice little two-headed thing, and, you know, it's a nice little setup. Rodrigo mentioned earlier about, like, you know, your sponsors and stuff. One of the things I could have done, Rodrigo, is make space that when I pull in a comment like this and we're doing our live, I can stick the comments up here, you know, so I can move my logo maybe to the side and leave more room for, you know, wherever I want the comments to go. Or instead of having our lower thirds be on there as a permanent, maybe what I'll do is I'll save one more without the lower thirds so that I can just keep all of the questions and stuff down here too. So that's another thing to think about. As you do this, your design stuff sort of comes into play. And so for tomorrow, I think definitely what I'll do is I'll create one more minus the lower thirds, because people don't need to see our names all day. You know, I just got to bring them in, bring them out. So yeah, I think what I'll do is make a space for this, you know, comment area to pop up. And also we'll take the comment area and color it. And since we're teaching Ecamm Live from the gate, let's go ahead and color that comment thing, because that clear background, maybe not as swanky as I want. For this particular show, I'm going to want it to kind of match, you know, our colorway. We don't have exact colors yet, but I'm going to just do something like that. That orange is a little obnoxious, but we'll leave it. And so, yeah, when it's sitting here, it should be a little darker, but I'm going to try not to be a design tweaker, because I am a design tweaker. If I wanted to absolutely match it, you can use the raindropper. And then now it matches. They should be the same, but it's a slightly transparent. Okay, yeah, cool. James, yes, there is a special link, my brother. It is Ecamm Live / oh wait, no, take that back. Hold on, I would type it up on the screen. Since we're here and we're teaching Ecamm from the gate, let me show you how to do this. Normally you would take this little text box and you put in your link. There's my link, right? Most people know what this part is, so just to make it cute, I chop that part off, and then I would click the crayon for the background, or that's the foreground, stupid. I'm gonna take the background and do something like, I don't know, dark blue. That's obnoxious. Let's make it black, make the letters white, and you can pick any font you want. And as I was telling the guys earlier, pick fonts that are easier to read. You know, try to stay away from things with lines on the bottom like that. That's really hard to read. Those are called serifs. You want to be sans serif, so nice, clean, simple font like that. And again, you can click to embiggen, and then you press add, and then it just becomes like that. Okay, so that's how you do it. You know what I mean? Way better, and you don't have to, like, I don't know. So yeah, just be careful. Stay away from funny looking fonts. Anyway, going back to this. That's a quick overlay. The other one, now remember, if I were to take this off, if I look at this particular Keynote screen, sorry, let me make one more screen real quick. You press this plus button, and that duplicates it. The other option, I'll delete that, is if you highlight one, you can press this button here, and that's going to give you a copy. So this is going to be my other Skype look, but I'm going to do the tall section. So I'm going to turn this off and click this little cogwheel, change the crop split to normal. So that gives you the big head view, right? In the big head view, I'm going to grab this particular guy and pop it here, and in theory it should work. Hey, who mentioned that earlier up here? Russell said about the transparent PNG. Look, I screwed one up. I absolutely didn't take the background out in that slide. Now I'm going to show you how to rescue that. Didn't mean to screw it up, but since I did, I can show you how to rescue it. Let me click over to share my screen real quick. And I'm going to take it off of current application. Oh, no, current application where I want. So right now, this is Finder. You can see this is the one I screwed up. If I double click it, it will open in preview. All right. Just to show you how cool preview is. Wait, let me fix this picture in picture real quick. Get out of there. All right, cool. Just to show you how cool preview is. If you did what I did and you forgot to cut it out right, or you didn't remove your background, all you need to do is press on these markup tools. It's this little guy right here in the upper corner next to the search box. And the second tool is a magic wand. This is known as quick alpha. Drop it into this black and pull out till it turns red. And then press delete. Your screen will go gray. Same on this side. Press delete. As long as you use decent solid colors, it'll be easy to make sure you get it all. Now, if you go too nuts, it'll do that, right? But that's out. I'm just cleaning some stuff up. Press save. Okay. So now if I come back over to Ecamm, and I don't think it updates on the fly. I don't think Ecamm does that. But let me drag this image back in. And then boom, now it works. So going back to your forgetting to, do the transparent background. If you forgot, just go in and preview real quick and cut it out that way. So this is the other type of Skype guest. So now I have two separate scenes. One when we're the little head Skype guest, another where we're the big head Skype guest. So that's basically how you set it up. And again, paying attention to Ecamm, these numbers down the side, these are your keyboard shortcuts. So if I hit Command 1, there's that. I'll turn that off. If I hit Command 2, there's an animated lower third, not created in Keynote. That was created in Final Cut, but you could create things like that in Keynote. If I hit Command 3 will bring up another set of lower thirds, which I accidentally removed, so I'll stick it back. There we go. That's the YouTube description, right? And then if I hit Command 4, that was me showing you how to use Keynote. Command 5 was a scene that I set up with a two-headed Skype guest, and Command 6 is also a two-headed Skype guest, both with the new overlays. Any questions? Thank you, Brett. Go back to 1. Thank you, Brett. Oh, see, I moved my thing up there and I forgot. So that's not like a full rundown on how to use Ecamm. I do think that I have to go deeper into just the Ecamm process itself, but I wanted to give something to those cats that are like just starting out and they're trying to figure out all these overlays and they're trying to figure out like how to do stuff, and everyone thinks it's hard. And there's been some nice people make some templates and stuff out there, but one part about the template, if everybody in the group, now that we're close to 8,000 heads strong, if everybody in the group downloads the templates, the problem is going to be everyone's show is going to look the same. And then, although that's great, it's also bad because it's going to make people think that Ecamm all looks a certain way. And that's not really the case, right? Ecamm could be whatever you want. So that is my only fear of everybody doing like the downloading the same templates from all of the people that are like sharing stuff out in the group. The other thing is, in the Leap to Live Streaming virtual summit that Stephanie from Lights Camera Live and her crew did with like Mike Alton and like some of the top streamers in the game, a lot of it talked about making your show look good, like remembering to do stuff like turn off live demo mode, you donkey. I always forget. I cannot stop forgetting. Okay. So you want to sort of like make it look like you, right? So that's the other problem, is if we all use the same templates or we all download the same countdowns or whatever, like it's all going to look the same. And considering how easy a program like Keynote with a couple of moves, you can make your show look like you. And like Pastor Johnson just said in the little chat right here, yeah, you got to be creative with your overlays. You got to make it look the way you want it to look. And Keynote's amazing, right? You can do real simple animations in there. And I'll do the next one I do like this, where I do like what's the word I'm looking for? Buttercream. You know, like in the chef game, if you're making cakes, you got a basic buttercream and everything else is added in flavor. I'm going to show maybe how to do animated overlays starting from a buttercream formula and step it all the way up to that like Duff Goldberg Grenache from Charm City Cakes. Something like that, where we can just show like how to make it your own style, your own swag. You want to definitely have your own flavor. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this. Like, number one, I had no choice because I erased my machine and I was starting from scratch. So if you're going to start from scratch, and I knew that there'd be a bunch of people that would want to see what this looks like starting out from the very beginning. So hopefully this helps some folks out there that's just starting from the very beginning. If there's, something you want to see more, you want me to deep dive into something, or you have something you're trying to do, let me know. I'll make a tutorial just teaching you, because you're probably never the only person asking that question. Today we had a really funny one. Somebody asked about why in Ecamm there's this kind of gray gradient at the bottom. And I laughed because every single one of us that initially downloads the program thinks our camera or our lighting is screwed up. But they literally put it there to help you see these overlays and stuff here at the bottom, so you can grab buttons and click them and whatnot. So I thought it was kind of hilarious because it's a very, very common question. Let me just check the stream real quick to make sure we didn't miss anything or didn't miss anybody. Thank you, Troy. And yes, Troy, I thought your comment about the video toaster is funny, because way back in the day, that's how I started in all of this live video mess. Is I was all about video toasters. Video toasters was my game back in the day. I used to build them, service them, and the whole 9 yards. So it's kind of funny that we've, sort of come full circle when it comes to the toaster game. Let's see. Just check in and see if everybody's been covered, making sure we got all the questions answered. James, thank you for popping through, even though you came through kind of late. You don't double listen to two audios. Always remember over here to turn off the extra yourself. Okay, that looks good. Yeah, I think we got it. I think most of the people that came through, got a chance to see what they needed to see. Here, watch this. This is where you press the cool stuff. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel. It's youtube.com/DocRock. If you're watching this on Facebook, if you follow my personal page, which most of my friends are there, which is why you see, or my page, which is just under Doc Rock, you'll see me standing there in my Palaka shirt pretending to DJ. If you follow that, whenever I go live, you'll get the notifications, right? And then you'll just, see. And Pastor Johnson, thank you for coming through. I hope I was able to help you, learn some stuff. And, again, if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, drop them somewhere where you can get them to me. You can always just email me at doc@docrocktips.com. That's DOC@DOCROCKTIPS, docrocktips.com, and we'll get it through. And Brett, thank you. And I just saw something came in my feed today, Brett. It said that there's a price drop on the Blackmagic 6K. And I'm like, damn it. Brett sent that directly to my email feed. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. If you happen to be up tomorrow morning at this time at 9, I'll be doing the show with Scott, which is the reason why we had to make these swanky overlays. All right, cool. We'll see y'all again soon. I appreciate you folks. Aloha. Stay safe. Peace. Ahui ho!